Sabadi, Najong. Welcome back, Sabscribers. It's me, Sab, here again with another episode of Suffering of Silence. I feel like every time I do the intro, I'm like, y'all already know what it is, but sometimes I guess I have to say it, right? So today, I actually was trying to record this episode like the day before because I thought I had some free time after work, and I feel like I was really forcing myself to like make an episode and feel inspired, because I was like, sometimes if I just start recording and I just start saying shit on the mic, I'll find some inspiration as I'm talking and recording, but it never came for me. So I tried for like an hour and I was like, nah, I just have to scrap it all and just start fresh tomorrow because my mind was just not there. It probably had a lot to do with the fact that I worked almost 12 hours yesterday, and I was probably just so exhausted at that point, and I was just trying to force myself to get an episode recorded so that I could feel more accomplished, I guess. So now the podcast is starting to feel more like an actual chore, and it's starting to feel like a lot of work, and it's starting to become less of, I don't want to say less of an enjoyment, but it just is starting to feel more like, I guess maybe what it is like I'm finally starting to truly take it more seriously, or I feel like I'm just pushing myself to put out a certain level of quality in the content that I'm making, but I keep forgetting that is not really who I am. I don't really care to do things to make it aesthetically pleasing or fit a certain prerogative. And I have to remind myself that I started this because I wanted to create a very laxed and inviting space. So I know it's so hard sometimes creating content, and especially, I hate when my pictures fall over. I need a better solution for all of that. But I hate when sometimes it gets really discouraging when you watch things online and you see other creators and other podcasters who have these aesthetically pleasing fucking podcasts, and they got all the little cool edits and their sound is exquisite. I'm still learning new things every single time I record, every single time I edit. I'm trying to do as much as I can, but I think more importantly, like, as I'm still starting, it's important that I just stay consistent, right? And every episode isn't going to be extremely amazing, and it's not going to be the best quality, but at least I'm doing it, right? And as we come up on an entire year, March 15th was the 1-year anniversary since I put out my first episode of the podcast. I wanted to do something super special and like make a huge deal of it and just talk about how amazing it's been, what a year. But like I put a lot of work into this, and it takes a lot out of me to feel comfortable with putting out the shit that I put out and like, talking about the things that I talk about. But I just didn't feel like that. It just didn't feel right to me, like, to make an entire episode strictly dedicated to all that and like, reflect on the last year. I still feel like there's a lot of work that I need to do and like, continue to add to the pod in general. I will celebrate soon enough, but I'm still very proud of myself. It doesn't mean that I'm not proud of myself if I don't celebrate it. I'm very much still proud of myself. I'll find my own way to congratulate myself on that. And maybe I also don't really want to celebrate it so much, because even when I just look back on the last year of my life, the people that I had super close to me a year ago when I first put out this podcast, or the people that I had supporting me a year ago, a lot of them are just not in my life anymore. I could just simply be like, whatever, it is what it is, shit happens. But if I want to be honest with myself and I truly process my loss, essentially, it's a loss both ways, because I mean, not to be all arrogant, but like, I'm kind of that. I'm just kidding, but not to be super arrogant, but I'm an amazing friend. I may have some emotional issues sometimes and I may be somewhat absent and avoidant, but I'm working on those things. But I am a very loving and caring person, and the people that I no longer have in my life that were in my life a year ago, of course I do feel some level of loss, because I did care about them, I did love them, and I can never tell myself that I didn't. I think that's the unhealthy thing to do if I were to downplay how much I cared and loved those individuals. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why I really don't feel like celebrating this 1 year mark, because this 1 year mark, it should have been you with me. You should have been here with me celebrating. You should have been here congratulating me, because your love and your support is what sort of motivated me even more to actually put it out. But it is what it is. That just goes to confirm and show me and maybe other people that are listening and watching my journey. It just goes to show you don't need to do things and change and be a better version of yourself for anyone but yourself. Motivating yourself to do things that are out of your comfort zone should never be for anyone else. And I'm not saying that I simply put out the podcast just for everyone else, but of course, the podcast is here to create the space that I feel like we just need in society in general. We need a space in which we can talk about these unconventional things and these truly radical conversations about mental health and just domestic violence and the patterns that we see, the trauma that we experience. They call it big T's and little T's. Those are conversations that I feel like we should be more comfortable with having and embracing that it was a part of our journey. But it doesn't define who we are, right? So it's not to say that I simply am only motivated by you guys' love and support or the people that I'm surrounded by. I motivate myself every single fucking day to push further and further in what I love to do, which is the podcast. And there's a lot of days in which I feel disappointed in myself because I have still not yet made music. And I know I bring that topic up often and I always say I want to, but I'm always so scared to. And it's always easier said than done. It's always easy to be just do the shit and put it out there. I can't remember what I was watching. I can't remember who it was. But I had overheard something that they said. Essentially, the artist, in a more eloquent way, they were just saying perfectionism is literally your biggest downfall. That is your biggest enemy. Your desire to create the perfect song, to create the perfect project, to create the perfect episode, to create the perfect outfit, to create the perfect whatever it is, that is your biggest downfall. By thinking that everything needs to be perfect in order for you to put it out in the world, in order for people to understand and digest what you're trying to create, that is going to be your biggest downfall. And he essentially was saying no artist should ever die without putting their entire discography out there. And that kind of stuck with me. I've heard those things before, definitely have, but it definitely stuck with me because I forget that sometimes. I feel like I just forget that perfectionism is my biggest enemy. I want my podcast to be X, Y, and Z. I want the audio quality to be so clean, so crisp, and so beautiful. And I want every edit in the video to be so aesthetically pleasing and eye-catching. And I want all of these things for my podcast to be. But I'm still just starting off. And I gotta start somewhere. If you don't ever start, you're never going to even have the chance to fail. You're never even going to get the chance to fuck up. You're never even going to get the chance to know where or how you can do better, right? And I know I tell myself that all the time. If you don't start, you can never fail, blah, blah. I know I tell myself that all the time. But the one thing that I feel like I'm so scared to do that with is music, because I just feel like there's so many. Maybe what it is, because I always tell myself, oh, there's so many people that sing, there's so many people that make music, there's so many whatever. I tell myself that all the time, but it's not even just that. It's the simple fact that music means so much to me. It's one of the things that I hold so dearly, so close to me, and I love so much. And if I fuck it up, that's going to break my heart. I feel like I'm going to break my own heart if I try and I fuck up. And because that is one of the ultimate things that has just truly made me who I am. And that's the one thing that I hold so close to me. And I'm so scared to fuck that up. I'm so scared to fail at that. But I have to keep reminding myself that my fear to fuck up cannot be greater than my fear of never knowing. Oh my god, it's so difficult. I don't understand how I can live so radically and so within myself and just so unafraid to be myself and take risks in so many other ways and aspects of my life. But when it comes to music, I just can't do it. And it just blows my mind that I cannot translate those ambitions for those things like the podcast or I don't know, not going back into corporate. I can translate so much of that into that part of my life and traveling. I can do that, but I can't do it with music. And I'm like, I have to keep looking within me and figure out why I'm so afraid. And I think it's mostly because it's something that I love so much. And I don't want to look stupid trying, because if I look stupid trying, I'm fucking up the one thing that I love more than anything. So I need to figure out my own way of navigating that. And of course, getting advice from people is amazing, but sometimes you can get as much advice as you want, but it's not as easy as applying it to you and what you do. And I also reflect that a lot with my romantic life. Giving my heart to someone, because I feel like in a lot of ways, yes, I have been in relationships all throughout my 20s, and that's all I know is like long-term serious relationships. And I feel like even though I stayed with those guys for a long period of time and I was committed to those relationships, or at least commitment in the sense of I don't even want to say commitment, because I feel like if I was really committed, I would have felt like I actually was in love. And I don't feel like there were many. It's not to take away from whatever I shared with any of them, but it's more of reflecting on the fact that I know that each of those relationships were not love for me. It's not that they're not lovable, or I don't want to shit on them. But I'm more so in just thinking and knowing myself. I know that I wasn't in love with them. I wasn't committed to those relationships, because if I was committed, I could have been 100% myself and I could have been all in. And I don't feel like I was really ever all in. The best way I can explain it is like, well, obviously when you're in an abusive relationship, what keeps you coming back is the manipulation, right? Because you're not in the right state of mind. So if I'm not in the right state of mind to even think clearly or think for myself, then I don't believe that I was ever really in love, if that makes any sense. I feel like I stayed out of convenience and out of comfortability and manipulation. I know that should I ever find someone that I am interested in and I want to pursue something romantic with, my way of being committed is not that. What I've done for those guys in the past, that wasn't commitment. And I know that about myself because I've seen myself committed. I've seen myself committed to things like the gym or the podcast, or my commitment to even my dogs, or my commitment to always making myself happy and putting myself first, right? I genuinely believe that since I've taken more time to put myself first in more situations in life, I have learned what actual commitment is, for me at least, and what it looks like for me to be committed. And that's why when I look back at my relationships, I don't see any of that as me being committed. It was more of me never being in the right state of mind and just actually doing what I know is comfortable for me, which is to stay and fight and fight and fight until the very fucking end, until the most explosive shit happens. And because I know myself and I know that I have a hard time walking away from emotional ties, because I have emotional ties and I have abandonment issues. So me staying long term with anyone in the past was always just out of convenience, out of this is just what I knew, was to stay and keep trying until I had no more try in me. And even in the most recent romantic situation that I was in, I don't know how far it would have gone. Half of me says I would have continued this cycle, and then half of me is like, but no, you still chose to walk away. You still chose to let that shit die, even though you still had whatever feelings and emotional ties to that person, you still chose to completely end it. I had never done something like that. I had never just been truly standing on business. Even when I still felt some way. Every single time that I have closed the door on an ex, it was literally because I no longer felt the same way about them. And in my recent situation, that wasn't the case. My feelings were still the same about him, but it was like, I just don't feel like this is going to work for either of us, and like, I just can't do this. But like, I still want to try. But like, old me would want to try, I should say. But like, new me is kind of like, you can't keep doing this to yourself, let alone that person. Like, that's just not right. So I am proud of myself for staying strong, standing on business. Because, alright, it ain't easy when you still have feelings for somebody, but you just know it, just the vibes ain't vibing no more. So yeah, anyways, let's move along from that. So, one entire fucking year, right? So, this time last year, I made a commitment to myself and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to travel. I just randomly decided, like, you know what, I'm gonna go see different cities. I want to go travel. I want to see things. I want to experience things in my own way. And I don't know how or what changed for me exactly where I became comfortable with solo traveling. But one random ass day, I'm like, yo, I want to go see the cherry blossoms. And the most affordable thing I can do right now is to go see the cherry blossoms. I can't afford to go to Japan right now. And I don't know if I can afford another trip up to Toronto. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna fly out to DC and see them, because I haven't been to DC since I was a kid. And then there was actually, the Pure Moss event. I was like, I want to go to the Pure Moss event. But then it also falls on the same weekend that the cherry blossoms first become, it's in bloom or whatever. And so I was like, what if I just kill two birds in one stone? What if I just go to DC, to Atlanta? There we go. So I booked my trip. I went out to DC, went to see the cherry blossoms. And from there, I only stayed one whole day. And then from there, flew down to Atlanta for the Pure Moss event. And ended up meeting some amazing people. I went to the ThriftCon out there. And it was just an amazing experience. That was my first solo trip, I guess, other than Toronto. That was one of my first solo trips to truly, genuinely do my own thing and not do it out of, I did it simply just because I wanted to. Because Toronto was for my birthday. And I've obviously traveled alone before. So I would do a lot of business and work trips. But that was for work, that was for business, that was different. And now this was the very first time I was just simply taking a trip just to take a trip because I wanted to. And that really changed my mind about everything. That changed my life. I was like, the fuck? I could do this more often. And I'm literally in Atlanta planning my next trip. I'm plotting out, I'm going to New York. There's this event that I want to go to. Came home from Atlanta, booked that trip to New York. Then, at the very last fucking minute, I was like, yo, Pure Moss event is actually, they moved it back in LA. So I'll be back from New York by then. Maybe I'll do that. So booked a flight, booked a trip out to LA. Two cities in 1 month was crazy. Then I did it again and I'm like, oh my god, I love this feeling. I love the rushing sensation of traveling. And this is not like me trying to brag or nothing. Like, I'm just reflecting on myself from the last year, because I also was like, I now have a reason to network. Like, there's just a level of pride that you can have once you actually create something that you have been wanting to create for so long, and you finally do it and you finally put it out there. Even if it's not the best quality, even if it's, it's a shit ass whatever, like even if the shit ass project, like you did, like you put that shit out there. And that made me feel 100 times more confident when I was walking into rooms and I was walking into spaces to meet people, because I can proudly be like, hey, I actually have a podcast. Hey, I actually do X, Y, and Z. Those are things that I pride myself in saying. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why it was super important to me to put out the podcast a year ago, because I knew that when I was walking into these spaces, I wanted to be able to walk in there confidently and meet people and shake their hand and be like, hey, I'm Sabrina. Hey, I'm Sab. I have a podcast. This is what I do. I enjoy, like things. That is what motivates me even more to continue doing what I'm doing, because I want to actually say that I've done something, right? Like, I want to actually say that I've actually done the things that I've talked about and wanted to do for so long. And that's more than what most people could ever say about themselves. And that's not to shit on anyone or make anyone feel worse, but it's to maybe motivate you to want to do the same. Because I could sit around and wait for shit to be perfect. I could sit around and wait for me to create the most, like, to be the best at something. But you can't be the best at something if you don't fucking try. If you don't fucking keep going, right? Like, I would hope that makes sense. I'm just super happy, super proud of myself. And I think as I think about the 1 year mark of the podcast more and more, it just makes me feel happier, makes me feel more proud of myself. And like, I'm reminded, like, it's like then, like, I feel like I might have lost the spark a little bit, and now I had to find it again. So sometimes I like to obviously incorporate some more abstract thoughts and just some things that I know may not completely resonate or relate to most people. But last night I had a crazy dream. I had a dream that I just kept seeing bugs. Like, I just noticing, if anyone's ever like lucid dreamt, or if you just remember your dreams in general, like, there's always these, I don't know if it's like that for everyone, but for me, there's always like certain things that just stand out to me that it sticks with me. So when I wake up, it's all I can think about. Like, it's a very prominent thing in my dream, and I'm like, okay, like, that's where to, well, every time I do dream and I remember it, I do write it down, I journal it. And when I journal it, like, I journal thing that seems to stand out the most. And I like to interpret those things because, or those items, or those, whatever it is, like, maybe it's numbers, maybe it's a person. I like to interpret those things because I believe it's my subconscious telling me something that I really need to know. I don't take, like, if there's a time in which, like, I don't take a lot of time to sit with myself and my thoughts, like, I know dreams is what's going to kind of process that for me. So, and in culture, it's a very, to interpret dreams, like, it means a lot to interpret the dreams that you have, because we truly believe that it does mean a lot of things, whether it's a sign of preparing yourself for what's to come, or something that your subconscious is telling you. So last night I had a dream that, like, just bugs. A lot of bugs. And if anyone knows, I don't really talk to my siblings, like, at all. My brother was in my dream, and my brother actually was born on St. Patrick's Day, and today is St. Patrick's Day. And my other brother, he's also, like, his birthday is like 2 days old. So I thought it's kind of interesting that I dreamt of my brothers. But I had a dream that one of my brothers, he like picked up a fat ass larvae, or I don't know what it was. It looked like a larvae, but it turned out to be a cocoon. And when I say a fat ass one, like, I'm talking like damn near life-size cocoon, And he picked it up with his arms, and he just like sliced it up. And I'm like, when he picked it up, I was like, yo, you need to put that shit down. That shit is disgusting. Ew. Like, I was out, because bugs do freak me out. And then when he cut it open, that freaked me out even fucking more. Okay? Like, my flabbers were gassed. I was like, oh my, I wanted to gag. So I'm like, bro, you shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. That thing's gonna fucking eat us alive. That thing is huge. And for some reason, I thought it was a silkworm. And then it turns out, like, when he cut it open, it was actually a caterpillar, a giant caterpillar. And he was just like, oh my God, look, it's so beautiful. And I'm like, beautiful? The fuck? Like, that's terrifying. And then I like peek out the window somehow, like, I don't know, like, I'd be doing random shit. So I like peek out the window, and I see another fat ass caterpillar just like right outside the window. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? Like, I'm in Wonderland or some shit. I kept seeing caterpillars and silkworms, and like some were like normal sized, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? Right? So I obviously did my research, tried to interpret my dreams a little bit. And so what I discovered was, let's see here. So I discovered that it's important to like if you can remember exactly what kind of bugs that you dreamt of, that helps define it more. And I'm very glad that I vividly remembered the silkworms and the caterpillars. And then one of them, I actually found like I remember a cocoon, a smaller cocoon, and it like was just to turn into a butterfly, and I actually watched that happen. So I feel like, am I really living this life? Like, am I remembering these things, or am I just shitting myself? So specifically about caterpillars can symbolize personal growth, transformation, and the journey towards a future goal, often representing a period of change and development. And it goes into like a more breakdown of potential interpretations. And obviously you take these things with a grain of salt. You don't necessarily have to, like, I'm not like it's just the end all be all and that's the fucking meaning. Like, there's so many interpretations of what like dreams can mean. And so I think it's insane because like I keep these, every lucid dream that I have has been something along these lines. Like the interpretation, it always comes down to the same thing. It's personal growth and transformation. Caterpillars are known for their transformation into butterflies, making them a strong symbol of personal growth and metamorphosis. Here we go. Journey in progress. The caterpillar's journey from a crawling stage to a flying stage can represent the journey you're on in your own life, moving towards a goal or a new phase, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Not like my dream and my goal isn't to become the best bartender in the fucking world, but I'm starting in a new phase of my life. I am giving up on corporate. I'm gonna try something new in a different field, in a different, like I'm starting over. And this could be exactly what I need to thrive more in my creative aspects and like the creative part of my life. It also can represent patience and perseverance, in which I talk about all the time. Now, patience, that's something a little harder for me. That's something I'm struggling with. I've always struggled with. As I've said in some recent episodes, like sometimes I'm so impatient with my personal growth and I wish I would have been here sooner. I wish I would have done this sooner. And I get so impatient and agitated with myself for not doing it sooner. But it all just works out in the time that it's supposed to. So it says the caterpillar's slow and steady progress can also symbolize the need for patience and perseverance as you work towards your goals. Exactly that. I need to be more patient and I need to understand that perseverance takes time. Like, you don't build it overnight. And of course, emotional growth. Water, often associated with emotions and dreams, can suggest that the personal growth you're experiencing might be emotional in nature, which is absolutely fucking true. I looked up what it meant to dream of silkworms. Envisioning silkworms in your dreams heralds the start of an exceptionally profitable venture or project that you'll undertake. This endeavor promises not only financial gains but also positions you in a place of prominence and respect. The silkworm's hard work and eventual silk production symbolizes your dedication and the significant rewards that follow diligent efforts. It signals a time to invest your energies into something meaningful and rewarding, knowing the returns will be substantial. Obviously, like, I'm bartending, I need financial means, right? Like, I need to meet my financial means. And I'm not going into it expecting that I'm making what I was making in my last job. Like, I know I'm gonna have to make cutbacks. Like, I know that me stepping into this new life is going to require some sacrifices. And not only that, but like also somewhat career in fitness, right? Like, I'm becoming serious about my lifestyle. And that might sound a little contradicting, being a bartender and being serious about my fitness. Just because I'm a bartender does not equate to me drinking all the time. That can still mean, like, I believe the two things can still be one and the same, and like, or they can still be true at the same time. And that would be great to be financially stable off of the things that I do love. Fitness and bartending I enjoy doing, is even though I'm just starting. Like, I love people, I love meeting new people, and part of who I am is networking. Like, I love those things. And I almost had doubts about continuing to bartend. I'm like, am I just having a midlife crisis? Only to realize that I got confirmation this weekend that I'm in the right place. Like, I'm on the right path. I started the most conversation with some random guy in the bar. I was with friends though, so it's like I was unsafe. But I started a conversation with him just simply because I saw what he was drinking, and I knew what it was because now I'm a bartender and I know what it is. And just having that conversation, I ended up finding out like that he's actually like a beverage director for like a restaurant group here in my city. And he's like, if you're ever looking for a job, like we might be looking for the summer. And it's crazy that I'm like unintentionally out here creating opportunities for myself. And that may not mean a lot to some other people, but like I feel that was something I feel grateful for because I didn't expect it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just simply having a conversation with someone that I found interesting, and like that was it. It just made me feel more comfortable in the place that I'm in. Like it just made me feel like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Sometimes you just get those confirmations in life, and that was it for me, right? And I'm not saying that this is what I'm gonna do forever. Like I don't plan to retire off of this, but knowing that I trusted my instincts and I trusted my gut, and it's leading me in places that I didn't even know that was possible for me. Like it just confirms that opportunities are endless if you just put yourself out there. So 1 fucking year of suffering of silence, and this is where I'm at, and I am just so much happier for it. Like I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful to have this gift of gab. I'm so grateful to even getting laid off. I just want to end this on like a good note and like feel good about what I've talked about today. And this is my way, I guess, of celebrating my 1 year mark of suffering of silence. And I always want to thank you guys for tuning in every single episode and just show me love and support and sending in your comments, your DMs, all of it. Like I truly love y'all for it, and I'm beyond grateful for it. Like without y'all, really don't know if I could be sane enough to continue to go and to continue to try. But yeah, I will leave it off at that, and y'all know to follow on TikTok and Instagram at Suffering of Silence Pod, and of course, as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Suffering of Silence, and you can catch me on any podcast streaming platform. But for now, I will talk to you guys next week. Take care of yourselves, and like I would love to hear about some people's dreams. Like that would be something fun if I could read off some of the dreams that you guys have. But anyways, I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much, subscribers. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.